Hello, my name is Kerrioth, and today we're going to look at some of the brand new Primaris stuff that has come out of the Warhammer community post about the upcoming Space Marine Codex, where they talked about a few things, they teased a few things, and we got a nice image showing some of the stuff we can expect to see on the battlefield from Space Marines using the Codex. And helpfully, they've put stuff in there that we haven't really seen before, which is cool. I like it when they do stuff like that. So what we've got pictures of the Aggressors, which that we haven't. I don't think we've had any pictures of those until this point, but there's a nice shot of them in this kind of big group image, which we'll show in a second. And there's a picture of the box that they come in. There's also a box for the Primaris Reavers, which has its own little surprise in that there's 10 of them. And I really thought the Reavers would be Scout equivalents in that you'd see default sizes of 5, but no, they are coming in a 10-man box, which is pretty cool. I like that. We've got a new type of Inceptor, or at least we've got images for the type of Inceptor that we already knew was going to happen. Plasma Inceptors, which have got, I don't know what, probably plasma cannon pistols, because that's the way this seems to work now. And we've also got Apothecary and Chaplain. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at the image right now, so we can have a look at them. Easy. There you go. So I'll tell you what, let's start with the Plasma Inceptors, because they are the weirdest for my money. The actual plasma guns, fine. They look big, they look kind of unwieldy, which I would kind of hope, given that they're probably going to have fairly good stats if the other Inceptors are anything to go by with their crazy assault bolter things. The only thing I'm not sure about is this. The welding mask of delight there. I'm not... I think there's a helmet inside that bigger kind of ball-shaped helmet, and for some reason, and I don't know why, maybe someone can point out a unit where I might have got this from, these masks really remind me of Tau, but I can't put my finger on what it is about them that reminds me of the Tau. I can't really think of any unit off the top of my head that has that kind of look, or whether it's just that general kind of aesthetic is a bit Tau-like. I'm not sure, but it'd be interesting to see stats for them. I'm not sold on these helmets, but I actually can't tell what is happening on that one up there. It looks like he's got no head at all, but I'm assuming that is not the case, because that would be weird. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. We've got a new Plasma Inceptors, those look cool. We've got the Aggressors there, although we've got a better shot of those in a minute. Although, just from that shot, I'm liking that. As one of the 4 people in the world who actually likes the Centurion kit, I kind of like the look of those. They look pretty awesome. But, as I say, we've got close-ups of those anyway. So let's move on to this chap right here, which is the Apothecary. And it's kind of hard to make out. There's not a huge amount of... Well, there's detail on the model, but it's hard to make it out because of the resolution of the photo. But I'm liking the I'm liking the servo arm of Medical Delight. Could be good to, stab a few people back to life with that thing. It looks pretty decent from there. And finally, off to the left here, we have Reaper from Overwatch. I mean, no, really, seriously. Look, you're not telling me that doesn't have a distinctly Reaper-esque look to it, that one. I mean, I like it, don't get me wrong, I do like that. I'm a fan of the Chaplain models anyway. They're very over the top, most of them. They're covered in skulls and sigils and all kind of mad stuff, but I've always quite liked them just because they are so over the top and faintly ridiculous. And that one is possibly the most over the top and faintly ridiculous one we've had so far. Yeah, I quite like it. The only thing I don't like is that the pose feels very much like the pose from the Captain in Gravis armour. I don't know whether there's just something about it. I think it's the way the legs are positioned, the one arm back and one hand up. It's like, that is, to me, that feels like very much the same pose as the Gravis Captain. But, aside from that, I do like it. It's pretty good. It looks pretty cool. So that's what that big image contains. Luckily, we do have some others, which will... the light is going all over the place, so I'm changing images on the monitor. Here we go. So the Primaris Reavers. These, look. I've already done my controversial thing by saying that I wasn't a fan of the helmets, but I have to admit they are kind of growing on me. Again, the image isn't like incredibly high res or anything, so it loses a little bit of detail. It's a little bit fuzzy, a little bit blurry, but that is a full-on 10-man squad of Primaris Reavers, which I quite like. I really thought they were just going to be very sort of, very small squads, and I was expecting them to, I don't know, just be more small and surgical. So I kind of like the fact that it looks like they won't be, or at least it looks like you'll be able to field them in decent numbers. The grapple hook is amazing. Whoever came up with that idea, hats off to you, sir. What the hell? I love that. I love it. Oh, I love the idea of a dude in power armor bloody firing a grappling hook. Excellent. I'm still not 100% sold on the helmets, right? Look, I'll be honest with you here. We've already had this discussion once. The like to dislike ratio on that video was not great. But I'm still not 100% sold on the helmets, except, and this is actually something that someone said to me on that video. They were like, okay, that's fine, but what if they were painted a different colour? If they were painted a different colour, you might actually like them more. You might decide that they look pretty decent. And when I was messing about on Reddit, well, in fact, it was only a few hours ago, I saw the paint job that a guy had given his Primaris Reavers, or at least one of his Primaris Reavers at least. And I have to say that I think this dude has single-handedly sold me on the normal helmet for the Primaris Reavers, the full helmet, not the one that was shown on the box just then, with the top half of the head uncovered, but the normal Reaver helmet. I think this dude, his name is Hiding Knives on Reddit, and you can see his inspiration on the left and what he's done on the right. But this has sold me. This has genuinely sold me. This has changed my opinion on those helmets in terms of what they can be made to look like. So, look at that. Look at that there. That, to me, that looks really good because it's got that sort of shaded, painted feel to it instead of it just being like the skull part is white. That, to me, makes it look way less cartoony. It makes it look way less out of place. I honestly think that Games Workshop made a misstep in painting the stuff the way they did, because if they painted it like that, I can think of a number of people that I've spoken to who would have just been like, oh yeah, that looks really cool. You don't want to just make everything block white, I don't think. I don't think it does great to show off kind of the detail and what you're going for if you just block out colour. Whereas that emphasises the skull parts without making it look like a cartoon. I don't know, I'm a big fan of that. I think it works really well. So yeah, Hiding Knives on Reddit, you have literally single-handedly changed my mind on Aggressor, on Reaver helmets. It's because I got onto the image that said Primaris Aggressors on the top of it, and I read it instead of actually trying to speak. So the final thing that we have, which again, picture's not massively high res, so apologies for that, but you can still see them all right. That is the Primaris Aggressors, which I absolutely love. The only thing I do not like about these is this placement of trophies or relics or whatever the hell these are. The Gravis Captain has the same issue where he literally has a bone between his legs, and surely someone must have realised that was a silly thing to do, but they went ahead and did it anyway. That's the only thing I don't like about these. They look like what Centurions should have been in the first place, and I say that as one of the, as I said before, 4 people in the world who actually likes the Centurion model. These look way, way better. I mean, do they have comically oversized hands? Yes, but I'll let them off because they've got guns attached to them. The missile launcher placement is far more sensible than anything the Centurions have got. Like, it feels like an evolution of a crappy design into a decent design, and that's what I'm really liking about these guys. I really can't see anything about them apart from the old relic placement that I do not like, which, let's face it, has got to be a good sign, really. Even I don't know, I think these are really, really nice models. I think they're really well done. I'm not entirely sure on the poses, and I'd hope that you'd be able to pose them a bit better than this, because that middle guy, for instance, the Sergeant, he does not look particularly dynamic. He looks static as hell. The other two aren't too bad, but the Sarge is not looking particularly lifelike to my eyes, but, you know, swings and roundabouts. The rest of it looks really, really good to my mind. And I have to admit, I'm kind of impressed. I think Games Workshop are doing a really decent job with the Primaris stuff. I think there's a couple of misses. I think some of the naming conventions are a bit dumb. But overall, as if I didn't kind of like the idea of them to begin with, they're really selling me on the models as a whole, especially now that I've kind of had someone kickstart my imagination a bit when it comes to the Reaver helmets. I'm kind of struggling to find stuff that I really don't like about the models, which is a really good sign, especially those Aggressors. I really want to have a good number of those Aggressors, but I'd like to see options for them as well. I'm hoping we do have options for them and they're not just single loadout, but we'll just have to wait and see when the Codex comes out. But yeah, all in all, I think they're doing a pretty damn good job at the moment. So that is the new Primaris stuff. It looks pretty decent, and we'll talk about the Codex a bit later in the week because they're going to be really revealing more of it as they go along, like doing little previews and stuff. So we'll talk about that on Wednesday. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'd be very interested to hear what you think of the Primaris stuff that's been revealed so far, the Reavers, the Aggressors, well, more specifically the 10-man Reaver box, the Aggressors, the Chaplain, the Apothecary. What do you reckon of all this? Do you think they're doing a good job? Do you hate them? Do you think they're just okay? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. There's all the usual crap all over the screen. You know, videos, subscribe, Patreon, all of that stuff. And I'll see you next time. Toodaloo.